You know what? I actually have this outfit. I should have. If I knew what it was, I would have came.
Same, right?
Yeah, I've got the exact same outfit. If I knew, I would have sat down.
Great.
And I would have worn the same outfit. Honestly, yeah. Hey everyone, welcome to the Sound of Accra podcast. I go by the name of Adrian Daniels. If this is your first time listening, this is a show where we speak of top Ghanaian founders, entrepreneurs and creatives worldwide with the aim of leaving you behind with meaningful takeaways that you can apply in your life, business and career. For today's show notes, I'd like you to head over to thesoundofaccra.com/black and famous. That's thesoundofaccra.com/black and famous. For all of today's wisdom, references and nuggets. Okay. In terms of famous, it's not spelled F-A-M-O-U-S. It's spelled P-H-A-M-O-U-S. All right. We'll have the links in the YouTube description if you're watching the show, or we'll have it in the podcast play if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. A 5-star review is very much appreciated. I'd like to introduce today's guest, Nana Boateng. He's the founder and CEO of Black and Famous.
Yeah.
It's a luxury Black African fashion line here in Ghana. And yeah, well, we are here, season 6 finale, beautiful place as you can see. You can see some of the pieces that he designs, and we're going to get into his conversation. Nana, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I know you don't usually do interviews.
That's actually my first.
And I've pulled you out. You
did quite a good job.
Thank you so much. I'm really humbled to be the first person to interview you.
Same, yeah.
And it was a humbling moment. I had that same opportunity with Darren Bond a couple of years ago, and here I am. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, great. So wait, how did you get into this? So
okay, so I don't have a fancy story.
Yeah.
Mine is quite a simple one.
Yeah.
Yes, I have passion for fashion, but this was a side hustle I started somewhere in 2018. I called in my executive assistant into my office. I was then into healthcare, running a healthcare supply chain.
Okay, was it in Ghana? Yeah. Okay, wow.
Yeah, I used to be the
completely different industry, healthcare engineering.
Yeah. Wow. I used to be the local distributor. I used to work for the local distributor for General Electric in Ghana.
Wow.
Yes, so I've done a number of projects in healthcare. We used to service and sell top healthcare equipment, CTs, MRIs, X-rays and stuff like that.
Wow.
But before then, I was a banker.
Yeah.
I went to retail, to SME, to corporate banking.
Wonderful.
I left that corporate banking.
So you climbed the ladder?
Yeah.
Wow.
That I left because I got an offer in healthcare. So I'm always about risk and, finding new things to do. And
so were you following the money or were you following the challenges?
I was 30 years by then. It wasn't really the money because I didn't even know what I was walking into. But it was a challenge. I was becoming a CEO of a company that was representing General Electric in Ghana. General Electric at that time was the biggest conglomerate in the world. So you can imagine that if I had a piece of that, why not go for it? So I quit my bank job, took that offer, did it for like 7.5 years. Through it, I wanted to do something. I never liked African clothes in the first place because the ones I got when I was growing up were probably too big for me. My mom just really had a local tailor or an area tailor, as we call it here, do something for me.
Yeah.
So I stayed away from it for a long time. And banking in Ghana, you wear suits and ties.
Yes.
So that was really what I was used to wearing. But when I switched, I had to dress down a bit because you don't attend meetings every day. So one day I just found a good guy that knew how to sew very well. And I was like, I want to start something and, own a brand that we could develop and see how it goes. One day maybe it could be the biggest brand ever built from Africa.
It could be the most famous brands, huh?
Exactly. So that's how we got the name Black
and Famous.
People think because maybe I'm very black, so they think or I have a very black complexion. They think right. It's to really tell the African story through the clothes we make.
Yeah,
we want to change the narrative. These days the world is exposed to the power of the internet, social media. So people will understand that Africa is no more a dark continent like they really say.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of corrections or a lot of narrative that we need to change. Some of it with what do we wear, for instance? How can we tell a story about what we wear? So when you come into our shop, we have all sort of outfits. You go on our social media handles and our website. We have products that we've put out there that people have actually asked, do you do it yourself? Do you do it from Africa? And we're like, yes, and we have customers all over the world.
Because you do shipping, we ship
we ship
worldwide as well.
Through DHL. We have an account with DHL. So if you order from our page, we ship all over the world.
That's incredible, Nana. What's the most interesting, outrageous country that you got an order from? You're like, what? They want my thing?
So that was for me, Sudan, during their time.
No.
Yeah, Thermal. And we got a big order. There was a big wedding and we did an outfit for the groom. It cost quite, and
that's
I
good
was
for
like,
you.
that's for me. Like, so we have people in Sudan looking us up. That was for me the biggest. But we have customers in Australia, which is quite far from here.
No.
Yeah.
Is it for the Africans or the actual Australians?
So for the black diaspora.
Black diaspora.
Blacks in the diaspora. So So usually most of our customers are diaspora, black in the diaspora. But we also have some, not colored people also buying our stuff. So
I can imagine.
So really, so I have this philosophy that we need to make African clothes. But do we have to just make African clothes for African people, or do we have to sort of make clothes that people now start questioning where it's coming from?
Yeah.
I think the designs if you look at the big brands, they've created all the designs from wherever they started, sometimes 200 years ago and then something years ago. We have our own. How do we make people in Italy, for instance? How do we make people in France, for instance?
Yeah.
Or in the States or in Australia start wearing us to work, for instance?
Yeah.
Can we make it a bit more appealing to everybody, not just Africans? So that's what we are working towards.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's the level that you want to go to. And it's interesting because, we're so used to wearing clothes from the West. But what's beautiful, Nana, is that even like African music, now people who aren't African, who aren't black, are playing the music and they're enjoying it. So it's gone mainstream now. And I think the same thing, we're probably going to start to see the fashion is going to follow. Because fashion, music, food, these three things, they kind of like go hand in hand. And some other, the culture as well. I feel like, you're tapping into the culture, you're influencing the culture with what you're doing in your own way. So I think, this is where we need to really continue to do excellence. That so much excess to the point where people are going to be like, what is that? I want to wear some of this, or what is that? I want to wear that. And it's beautiful now. What's your thoughts now? You're seeing like NFL players rocking some of the, the luxury African, fashion attire. Even you've seen maybe, NFL players to basketball players now. Even when they're going to games, they're traveling to game in between games, you've seen some wearing some of that, and you're like, what is going on? And then things like the Super Bowl. What's your thoughts on how culture is moving with fashion and music?
So I think, yesterday when I was thinking through this podcast and what to say and what not to say, I'll say what I think Nigeria, maybe because of their size and population, they're leading the charge when it comes to Afrobeat.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to fashion, they are doing quite well too.
Yeah.
You can't take it away from them.
Yeah,
some of the brands, some of the products I personally follow some of them for inspiration. So just like Afrobeat took over or became popular globally, if Afrobeat is now popular in China, it's popular in India.
I know it's popular in China.
Nana is very popular. So you can imagine what fashion could also look like or become when we follow the same plan. Instead of us trying to compete and trying to let this one, can we do it first? I don't think it's important. I think what is important is for us to break through first.
Yeah.
Either me or whoever does it first. And then we all come in and we make it a big, industry for ourselves. Because Africa is the next big thing.
Oh, yes.
It's been said over and over again. And when they say that, they don't expect us to lead with technology. Because technology is far advanced.
Yeah.
With AI and all that. We could do our bit.
Yeah.
I mean, India started and today they are there. But we could start with the low-hanging fruits like fashion, like we've done with music, like Ghana and Nigeria, Jollof is all over the world now.
Yes.
Why? Because people talk about it.
They talk about
So let's get people talking about African fashion, for instance, and it will go global.
Yeah.
There has to be a deliberate attempt to push African fashion or African apparel manufacturing to the world.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, I look at things and there's something that I looked up or I didn't even know was up, but one day I typed in, I realized there's a whole course on it in one of the Ivy League schools. It's called the business of fashion. The business of fashion is what we need to figure out well and make money out of it. The big brands like the LVs of today, they understand the business of fashion.
Yeah.
Because fashion is not just showmanship or it's not just showing off what you can wear and how stylish you are. The owners of those brands don't even dress too stylishly. They are just simply dressed.
Yeah, I mean, look at you today. You're simply dressed.
Exactly. But they control what you wear.
Yeah.
If you look at LV, the people that wear LV, top to down, the owner of LV doesn't wear his brand. He doesn't even have anything with LV written on it.
Wow.
Yeah, the current majority shareholder or the one that owns the brand.
It's a Bernard, I can't remember his name, Bernard B. Barnett, something like that. Yeah.
So look at that guy.
Filthy rich.
Exactly.
He's like second richest.
And he owns not just the way, he owns a lot of brands. Now talk about him, right?
Yeah.
They understand what fashion. He didn't even start with LV. He's not part of the LV family. But they understand where they are taking that brand to. So they buy it, they invest in it, and they blow it up. How are we going to do it? Is what it is. So what I'm focused on now is the business of fashion.
Yeah.
We could be a flagship business when it comes to fashion in Ghana or in Africa. People love what we do, but if we don't turn the commercial value out of it, or we don't change the commercial value out of it, then there's no point. Because we need to pass what we are doing to the next generation.
Absolutely.
The next generation would be people that might be interested in IT or in healthcare, but that might not be interested.
Yeah.
The only reason why they'll be interested in fashion, especially fashion in Africa, is because of the value it creates. So how will we do, or what will we do to attract investors, for instance, to come and say, let me partner you, and attract a big investor like the owner of LV to say, Black and Phamous, I've been watching you from afar. I think that you're doing a great job. I think that I want to partner you and have shops all over the world. I want you to just focus on African apparel and modernize it a bit, make some a bit westernized so that our people can wear it. Why not? That's for me the future.
Yeah. In your opinion, are there any mainstream African-based brands like worldwide, global? Like you can go into like all around, you know how Nike, Adidas, all these brands, just wherever you go in the world, they're there. In your opinion, are there any brand? There's not really. I
don't know of any brand from Africa.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that because
So there's an opportunity, right?
I'm not, like I started with my story, I'm not an industry person. Of
course, yeah.
I don't even call myself a fashion designer. I call myself a fashion entrepreneur. Because people that are fashion people will come after me if I say things that I don't know. Okay. But I've heard of brands, some female brands that have got like racks in Selfridges and stuff like that you can buy their clothes when you're working in the UK and all of that. I've heard of it, but I cannot verify.
Of course, yeah.
But you know Virgil Abloh, may he rest in peace. You know what he did with Off-White and what he did with Louis Vuitton. That for me was a big break. But then again, he's not called an African, he's called an American with African descent because that's where he grew up, that's where he lived.
That's what they put first, don't they?
Exactly. You talk about Oswald Boateng. Oswald Boateng has my name, and he's a big inspiration, for instance. He's a London or he's a UK brand. Yeah. He's not an African brand.
It's an African brand, yeah.
There could be, like I said, because Africa is big. 52 countries or so. Yeah. I can't figure out what is happening in South Africa, in Morocco. But I feel there could be some solid brands that are already in Europe, but there's a lot of work that we need to do, especially from Black Africa. I mean, south of the Sahara, countries that are south of the Sahara. That is from, those countries in the ECOWAS and Central Africa, Eastern Africa. I don't know, but some are doing very well. Some might not even have presence in Europe or in America, in Asia, but they are online. That's the most important thing, like having an e-shop that people can shop from. So as to how we're going to blow out for us to become global, I don't know of any that I can say have shops all over the world.
Yeah.
But I know some, even from Ghana, that are doing very well.
Very well, yeah.
And let me say this. Sometimes I hear people talk about brands from Africa, brands from Ghana competing. The worst thing we can do to ourselves is to compete. Let me tell you a story I read online. There was a shop that, or there was a factory that had, maybe an arcade. I don't know where it was, but we had a Pepsi vending machine. And so you clock in and you buy your bottle. It was selling 50 bottles, let's say per day. And they brought in a Coca-Cola vending machine. Coca-Cola saw that it was a good spot. So they also brought their machine. So now there are two machines selling almost the same product, but with different branding. Guess what happened? You would think that they would split into 25 a day, 25 a day, or 30 a day, 20 a day. According to what I read, if we are wrong, then I'm wrong. Sales doubled for Pepsi. They started doing 100, and then the Coca-Cola vending machine started doing 100 too. So put together, they were doing 200 bottles a day. Why did that happen? Because if you offer people alternatives, people tend to orient or move towards things that are attractive to them, so they can have options on that. People that wear African wear or African clothes would want to have variety. If you just have one or two brands, just pushing it, you get fed up in no time. But if you have a lot of brands, or let's say 10 at the top that are doing well, you realize that at every given time, there's something that is being produced or being churned out of Africa or Ghana or wherever that sort of catches the eye. So you see this one, then you see that one. So if I'm not buying from you, I'm buying from this guy.
Yeah.
And the next time I buy from this guy and people give you compliments, I buy again. Then I wear your brand. Then I get compliments. Then I go back to you. So we increase sales. If you do it alone, and one or two people just break you, it will be difficult for them to blow it out like the way we want it done. I believe what is important is for us to maybe not even collaborate, but what is important is for us to make sure that we are all doing well. I can't influence what my other competitors, I won't call them competitors, but my other sister or brother brands are doing. Yeah. I'm happy if they come out with super designs, because then we are telling a story.
Yeah, because what they're doing is they're putting brands like yourselves a bit more awareness. Like, okay, cool, that this actually exists.
Exactly.
What else is out there?
Exactly.
And then we come to Black and Famous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So have people come from other competitors. Oh, I wear this. I say, yeah, I like that brand as well. Even from Ghana. And I refer people to, I tell them that if you want this particular outfit, go to this brand. Because that's not our house style.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
I think even me, it's like, the other day I had a conversation where I had the PA of Rocky the Wani approach me, and they're like, "Oh, we want you to interview him." And I said, "I don't interview a lot of artists. I'm not sure if this is something I can take, but I recommend this podcast for somebody else to do it." But then they still wanted me to do it because because they knew I could talk about certain topics. But the matter of fact is, I'm willing to pass it on to another, fellow person who's in a similar space. You go. So I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. It's absolutely amazing. Nana, you mentioned earlier on passing on the skill set of fashion to the youth,
the next
generation. Very, very important. I want to come back to the business of fashion because I want to go back there.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about how you kind of got to where you got to a little bit. You got the foundation, right?
Yeah.
Could you tell us a bit more about that?
So we started off by supporting some some children homes.
Yeah.
We also support the likes of one of our brand ambassadors, Kojo Jones Foundation.
Mm-hmm. Kojo Jones Foundation.
Yeah.
And he's one of your clients, isn't he?
No, he's one of our brand ambassadors. Yeah.
Beautiful, yeah.
And we also are trying to carve a niche for ourselves, because what you need to do is to find a place that, because I was very passionate about, or I have been passionate about children healthcare or pediatric care because of my field or my experience. Exactly. So one of the things that we want to do as a foundation is to adopt a pediatric ward and make sure it has everything that you find in any pediatric ward in the world. It's a big call, but we want to do it and do it well. And we don't even want to target anywhere within the big cities, because the big cities are flooded. You'll be surprised that you go into a community. When I used to be in healthcare, you go into a community and the labor ward and the child ward, you will see there will make you cry. So we want to put our footprint where we think will have the biggest impact. So that's what we are working towards. It's in the oven here. There's not big there. So, and funny enough, like I tell you all the time, I don't believe in sensationalism, and so I don't make too much noise. I want my product to talk for themselves. So I don't make too much. I don't focus on myself, or I just focus on the brand. So once we get it done, I'm sure we'll do another podcast, or we'll go see it, and maybe do another podcast from there, and talk to the benefactors of the project. And the project. So that's something I'm very passionate about.
That's beautiful. I mean, we did talk to 100K for Ghana a few seasons ago, and they go to places like Eastern Region, and they do like mental health workshops and pop-ups and clinics where they just give medicine out for free. They do health checks, flying doctors from abroad, and it just does. The whole village is taking about 200 people. The whole village is taken care of, and it's really something that we need. I mean, I'm hearing like maybe places like Kolebu, whatever. Some people can't even get beds to go on, and so they can't even administer to these people. Some people are just dropping dead. It's so sad. It's so sad. But I'm glad that people such as yourselves, you're using whatever wealth you're building, whatever influence you have to kind of help and tap into those areas.
Then let me also mention that I'm very passionate about the youth, because I think those of us that grew up in Africa or from Ghana, for instance, things were not like this. When before this, we were having a conversation about how Ghana has boomed over the year. Over a short period, maybe about 10 years, the infrastructure is now laid. Some of us grew up in an era, I'm not too old though, but we grew up in an era maybe in the 80s and the 90s that we didn't see all of this happening. So this is new to us. And so as part of our plan is to also get, because I see a lot of brands coming up every now and then. And I personally follow some of them. Reason is that I want to see what they're doing, and then we need to lift ourselves up. An opportunity I'm working on for the youth is for some to intern with us, to understand what we do here, and maybe copy a few things and go and start. Because solving unemployment, we think, is something that the government must figure out a formula to. I believe that it's not that. I believe that if you go to China, now the story about China, you know how the big brands like the Nikes of the world went into China and started producing. They were complaining about copycats, as in they copy the designs and they mass produce them and they make them cheaper. And guess what? After a long while, we realized that a lot of brands are coming out from China that are not the copy ones that we used to see. Now, there are a lot of small businesses that have boomed over the period because they saw the technology. They copied the technology, but they've created their own brands now. They don't need to go on the back of Nike or Adidas or Gucci.
That's true.
You understand? I think that is what we also need to start, maybe at a micro level. We are not too big, but to impact the youth and say, if you want to go into fashion, I think my doors are open. But it takes time, and it takes the people also being ready, you themselves being ready to tap into opportunities like this.
It's amazing. I think now things like the internet and just globalization has made things cheaper, quicker to produce, easier to produce.
Exactly.
And now almost you can create almost anything from your own bedroom or from the comfort of your home. So it's incredible. I think it really is incredible.
And I tell you what, for instance, people think that as a brand, maybe from Africa, all we should do is to focus on producing Africa, like I mentioned earlier. But nothing stops us or stops me, for instance, from producing elsewhere, either on the African continent or even Asia, and make sure that the brand is on it and the product is good. What the big brands sell, I always go back to the big brand because that's my inspiration. How do we create another Louis Vuitton or Gucci or Prada or Fendi from Africa? You realize that the brands are owned by companies in, for example, Italy and France and the US, and they don't produce everything there. They outsource their production.
Of course.
Produce at a certain quality. Now, what they get all of us to do, you and I, wear one brand here or the other today because we feel on your big occasions, that's where you need to turn up. Maybe your Rolex watch. Maybe your sunglasses that you really love. Now, what I think we could do by building a big brand is to look at how we focus on the brand. So say Black and Famous. How do we make sure that the brand Black and Famous, when you pick it, it's like you've picked an item, a collective piece that you're going to hang in your wardrobe. You understand? Or you're going to put in your that you only go pick it when it's an important occasion, or you drill it. The day you want to dress well to any function, you want to work, you pick one of them.
Yeah.
That feel, that's what I call it. I've called it the Black and Famous experience. That's what I work towards. I'm after the money like everybody else, but I'm also after the experience that you get.
Yeah. And when you get the experience right, the money will follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've gotten all of us salivating, the big brands I'm talking about. If you own a Prada sandals, you wear it on big occasions. You don't wear it when you're going to wash your car. You know, but you can buy a sandals anyway and just put your feet in it. If you wear a Phamous shoes, if you wear it on your big occasion, like let's say your wedding, or a day you're being honored, you can order one for yourself for maybe a $5,000, $10,000 shoot or 20,000 and wear, because you put so much value on it. For me, that is what is missing for us, that we could work on and gradually start getting our customers or our followers to start looking at us like they look at the big brand. Don't come to us because you just want something to them. Come to us because we want to give you a brand that you wear into a meeting in, let's say, London, and you feel so good. And people are giving you compliments. And I have a lot of testimonies. People walking in the streets of New York and getting compliments. I like your shoe. I like what you're wearing. That's what I'm focused on. On getting the brand up there. At least, if not in this generation, at least the next generation that can pick it to the levels of the LVs of today.
Of course. That's a fantastic aspiration to have, Nana, because you want to be in those conversations when they're mentioning Tom Ford, Louis V, Prada, Balenciaga, whatever brand, Michael Kors, whatever brand, you want to be in those conversations, because why should we, especially even the diaspora or even Ghanaians or even Africans, black people as well, why should we spend all our money and give it back to them? Why can't we just put it back into our own economies, our own systems, our own people, so that we can grow even further and bigger?
Why wouldn't we push a brand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brands up and say we are building, like you said, the Balenciaga of Africa? And Africa has a population, I'm not too sure whether 1.2 billion, 1.5 billion. That population alone can transform Africa without any other entities vying from us. I'm sure you've heard of AFTA.
AFTA.
Yeah, there's a program by the African Union that has supported inter-African trade.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a big conversation around it. If my brand even decides to focus on Africa for the next 10 years and intersell, have a shop or have a rack in a retail shop in Zambia, in Zimbabwe, in South Africa, in Kenya, in Egypt, imagine the transformation. I don't need to probably even touch Europe or America.
Yeah.
That alone
is enough.
It's transformational enough.
Yeah.
You know, those are the conversations we want to have. And maybe we are not there yet. That's the dream, that's the mission, that's what we are focused on.
Yeah. So you've been running for how long, Black and Famous?
This year will be our 6th year. Last year we turned 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah. And there's a lot that's lined up.
I'm sure there's a lot that lined up by the grace of God.
Yeah.
You want to be able to get to the point where you have your product across Africa and hopefully across the world, but you are shipping across, which is fantastic. What would you say in terms of getting to where you are today? Like the evolution of your brands, like what's been some of the key things that you've picked up, that you've learned along the way in your journey?
I think we focused on our customers. I'm big, my team will tell you I'm very big on customers. I probably tend to be a very difficult boss when it comes to what a customer gets. And I get so sad and so infuriated when a customer calls me and says, I didn't like what I got. You know, because what we are selling is not just an outfit for you to put on, like I said. My focus is on the brand. Yeah. My brand should give you an experience.
Yeah.
I do not want to have... We can't be perfect. And I'm sure some of our customers that have been disappointed in the past watching this podcast will be like, yeah, but we know you. The last time we came, the service wasn't great. The time you promised to deliver wasn't... Yes, we admit that we are a human institution. But for me, what has brought us here is one, our customers. We are focused. Let me say one, God, because God is the ultimate. You know, He directs everybody and directs me, especially in the team, my supportive team, to get us to where. So God, and then 2, our customer base. There's a lot that I have in mind to do to make sure that our customers keep coming back and they're excited.
Yeah.
For instance, my Sudanese customer, my Australian customer,
That's amazing.
my Congolese customer, my Angolan customer comes back and is smiling, you know. And there's a lot of work because you need to continuously churn out products that are exciting for people to see.
Yeah.
If I tell you the number of products we actually develop that never sees the light of day or never comes out, you'll be surprised. We trash a lot just to make sure that what comes out, and if you check out our social media handles, everything there is very well, you know, put together, because I will not take anything substandard.
Yeah.
And so on this note, I would like to say anyone that has got anything from us that I didn't like to personally reach out to me on our social media handles.
Wow, that's very bold.
Because we can't have a brand that does not deliver on his ethos or on his promise. That I find, you know, I don't find acceptable by all standards.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Nana, the amazing thing is during filming the season, I've spoken to a lot of guests and some of the guests were doing really, really well. One thing that I've picked up, which has been a common theme, is they've been absolutely obsessed with customer service.
Yeah.
Similar to Jeff Bezos from Amazon, his obsession with customer service got to where he is billions, right? And I think that is the key. When you focus on your customers, once you get them happy, they will then do the rest of your work for you.
Because the customers actually sell the business. It's not really the business that sells itself. It's the customers that keep the word that goes out there. And you'll be surprised that I have a customers in Germany getting married. They want a suit done for them. They want an ambada done for them. Why? Because somebody tells them, if you want anything from Ghana that's exquisite, go to Black and Phamous. That's what I live on. That's what we live on.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah. They just keep sending customers away.
Exactly. Because we can, I don't believe that we make the best outfits in Africa. We could, but it is not something that I can put on my shoulders or tap my shoulder and say, I think we are the best. I think we actually do one of the greatest. But people will get fed up with you, with your designs. People will get fed up with the quality delivered the last time. But people will never forget the customer service. People will never forget the product you delivered to them. That is my focus.
Yeah. It's like Maya Angelou, right? It's not what you did, but it's how you made them feel, isn't it? And that's going to keep in their minds forever.
Exactly. And people say, so you think from afar away, you think you are very expensive. I think what I say to that is that it's not that we're just doing it. It's quite deliberate. We want to be an aspirational brand. We don't want to be a brand that you can just, you have to want to own it. And once you own it, you keep it for years.
Yeah.
And I make customers that I have one piece or two pieces I bought from you 5 years ago that I take everywhere important. That for me is what keeps me going.
Yeah. That's brilliant, because you don't want your designs of fashion to be seen as something disposable. You want it to be seen as fashion that, you know, people can keep maybe for years. And you're having the wardrobes for years. Not just I've worn this. Here we go.
Exactly.
Like Primark or something like that. Cheap, fast fashion. Because it's not fast fashion. This is beautiful, bespoke, luxury fashion that you want to keep timeless. That you want people to keep in
timeless. If you go on our page, you see it. Timeless fashion. Something that you wear it in 10 years and then you go like, fantastic. You know, this is still good.
How do you you talked about your inspiration. You talked about some, you know, figures that are doing great, you know, the Virgils, you know, the, what else? I mean, other people that you mentioned as well. I mean, all of these amazing, great people, you know, in the fashion space. How do you kind of continue to innovate and inspire yourself to continue to create something new? Because innovation, I think, is a very important thing in fashion, right?
So we keep learning. I'll be honest. We keep learning. The kind of volume of content I consume from the internet and social media we got made. Sometimes I'm awake at 1 a.m. tossing in bed, and the next thing I'm on the page looking at what people are producing. What can we do different? You know, fashion is. Sometimes you walk into a shop and it's a look and feel. You go to Mangoes, it looks like Banana Republic. You go to Banana. So how do we sort of not fall behind when it comes to what we produce? So what inspires me or pushes me forward for me is what the future holds. Like I said, the future is what we've created now and what the next generation will carry forward. I watched a movie recently. It's called The House of Gucci. You should watch that movie.
House of Gucci.
House of Gucci. Yeah, is a piece of the Gucci story. How succession failed at Gucci. But the brand didn't fail. I don't know whether you understand.
Because
Succession failed at a point with the brand, according to the movie, but the brand still stands.
Okay.
So the owner, according to the movie, the founder had passed, had two sons. One was handling the business, the other was just a shareholder. They needed to pass it on to the next generation. A lot happened. The guy that took over from the business lost the focus on the brand that needs to be built. And they unfortunately had to sell 100% shares to a partner that came along. So as it stands now, there isn't a Gucci family member that is a shareholder of Gucci.
That's sad.
You understand? So
that's sad.
If you're going to learn anything from that, it's not what we are doing now, but it's the next
generation.
Next years.
Yeah.
Because if you are talking 2-3 generations after now, you're talking probably 150 years to 200 years. Where would the brand be? We are not focused on how much we're going to collect from customers now. We are focused on where the brand will be.
Because that's short-term thinking, isn't it? It's going to be long-term thinking.
Exactly. I went for a show in Vegas last week. I think I told you about it. And it is the biggest fashion event in the world. It's called Sourcing and Magic. You have all the manufacturers and the buyers in the fashion industry, all players coming to one event to showcase their stuff and to connect and all of that. Now, the number of people that came to our booth to see us, the first thing they mentioned that they liked the brand, Black and Phamous. So for me, that's the first thing you got right by the grace of God. The name.
Yeah.
And the ethos of it, and the fact that it is not just, people think it's just targeted at Black people. I said no. It's because of color and people without color to come and be part of this story.
Yeah.
Now, if you gotten your name right, if you gotten a name that feels as good as Tom Ford or Gucci or Louis Vuitton, how do you capitalize on it? How do you turn it into the next biggest brand in Africa? You don't just talk it away. It's something that you want to leave it out and leave it to the next generation. That is for me what this inspires me. How do I make sure that as we do this and we do it for the next 100, 150, 200 years, the name will still be there. And this podcast will be looked at as, oh, so that is the story behind the brand. And that's the vision we had for the brand. I think that's what inspires me.
That's incredible. How do you plan to pass on what you're doing to the next generation, whether it's teaching them the same skill sets or maybe passing on generational wealth, etc., or maybe opening doors that help people to go into this field? How do you plan on doing that?
So for me, it's building the structures of the brand. Well, I mean, back to the movie, there was a guy that was dedicated to keeping the brand identity, the brand ethos. So he was called I think the conservative or the conservationist or something like that, director of the brand in the movie. And his job is to make sure that the brand doesn't move away from why it was set up and what it's supposed to deliver.
Wow.
So you can pass money to the next generation, but they will squander it or they'll blow it. But if you build a strong structure, no one can take the structure away because everything is laid out from beginning to end. And one of the things that I suffer from is I don't say much, so I have a lot of things stuck in my head. So one of the things I'm working on now is to get the whole team, okay, including my wife who's a partner, to sort of write everything that we want to do down.
Yeah.
And we follow it. You have a 10-year plan. The 10-year plan might not go to plan, but at least it's a plan. So if it's not done in 10 years, it's done in 15 or 20 years.
Yeah.
It was still a plan that is being followed. So what is driving all of this is where we are moving towards. African Apparel has come to stay, but you need to evolve. You cannot continuously do African Apparel from Africa and go global. Because Africans will always like African Apparel. But with the whites like African Apparel too, what can we offer them from Africa that still looks like what they have? That can still bring us commercial value.
Yeah. That's why you guys...
I don't know whether I'm making sense.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. You probably want to be in those conversations, because that's how one way you can probably get your brand to go global, properly global, and be in these stores. Exactly. Wherever you go, I can go in a store in Dubai and find Black and Phamous in a store over there.
Exactly.
That's what you want. Going back to House of Gucci, Nana. So that's a movie you watch, right?
Yeah.
I think last year I watched a couple of similar movies, I'll say. I think the Lamborghini film and then the Ferrari film. One thing I picked up was that, with these brands, they didn't just go into vehicles, they then pivoted into like boats, clothes, hats. And I went to the Ferrari Museum in Italy, I think in 2022, and the different products that I saw Ferrari in, I was just blown away. Oh, Ferrari has this, they do that, they do that. I was just blown away.
Bentley does furniture.
Do you have any plans to maybe once you feel like you've done enough work in the fashion, which probably isn't going to be the case because of where you're going, do you feel like the Black and Famous can be another brand, like an accessory, or it can be maybe a car? You see all these different, because all that collaboration, right? Maybe you can collaborate with, I don't know, whatever car manufacturer in Africa or Ghana and say, hey, we want to produce the car seats, or we want to produce, the steering wheel or the headrest. Has any of those thoughts come to mind?
So as part of what I was talking about, that the plan that I have so that we roll it out, is not for us to be, I keep mentioning that you can't just produce African now. It's to become a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you talk lifestyle, you talk clothes, you talk accessories like sunglasses, you talk about, watches, you talk about shoes, you talk about furniture like you spoke about. So that's how you're going to, for me, that's what I think. That's how you're going to evolve and become what you want to become, If you look at the LV story, and I'll go back to the LV story again, the owner of LV started off by doing cases, luggage cases, traveling cases. That's where it started off. Today, how many people even know that? Like, you usually see their box cases and all of that, but that's the source of the brand. He didn't do anything. That's what he did for like the early years of the business. So now where we are is doing Africa, no problem. We are very focused on that, but there are plans to roll out our own line of accessories, talk of sunglasses, talk of shoes. We have plans because we have to look the parts. You need to walk into this shop or into this outlet or in other outlets that we're going to have and grab a watch or grab a sunglasses and you get what I'm saying. You should be able to put everything together for you when you walk into our shops.
Absolutely. You want to have the same experience and customer service passed on, because I think the reason why people like Uber might do fairly well is that people already know the service they'll get from the cars. So, okay, we're going to do taxis, we're going to do trains, we're going to do helicopters, we're going to do boats. So they've moved into these different areas. And people, and food as well, Uber Eats, right? They've moved into these different areas because they know customers, once they trust in the customer service, they know they can get their trust into other areas.
There's this saying I heard before, that listen to the customer. They are telling you what they're expecting from you, what your business should deliver, and not what you think you should deliver. Because the customers will come and tell you, can I get this? You know where I can get this? I'm getting married. Or the things they are telling you, that's where the business is to. So all we are doing is to reshape and refocus the business where it's supposed to. Because we started with this, but like you say, you never know. Maybe what will actually break us to and make us go global is probably not even close. Something within the lifestyle, sphere that could, catapult us.
That's amazing.
Need design for your startup? Switch to workspaceglobal.com, the internet's simplest design service. Skip the agency and freelancer headaches. Our platform connects you instantly to vetted creatives to get your logos, websites, and marketing materials fast, all managed for you by our team, software, and AI, so you can focus on what you care about most, growing your business. Try us for free, workspaceglobal.com.
I think one piece of advice I'll have for any up-and-coming designer or fashion entrepreneur is that it's a very, just like entrepreneurs, it could get very lonely. And you question yourself. And sometimes I wake up and I question myself, what is all this that I've gotten myself into? Because hitherto nobody knew me, or not a lot of people knew me. That I'm into fashion. And today my name is out there, my brand is out there. You don't want it to fail, do you? So you have to get ready for what you want to get into. Because I see a lot of brands coming up, and I think it's one of the things that excites people. Or I own a brand. I'm a fashion designer. But I think one of the things that will amaze anyone that walks into this field is that it gets lonely. It's very competitive. It's very demanding. I crack a joke to my customers, to my friends. I say, fashion is like witchcraft. It's so involved. It sucks you in.
Yeah.
Imagine you getting tired. I mean, I don't know how they do it. You didn't call for a meeting.
Yeah.
It's spiritual. That's how fashion. People put your tire. People want to see you. They want an appointment with you. If it doesn't go well, they want to speak directly to you. They don't want to talk to any of. So it's very demanding, and there's a space that requires a lot of time to grow.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you work with a team. You know, in my situation where I don't sew myself or I can sew myself.
Yeah.
I just play my part with design. I design almost about 80 to 90% of what we put. I've not been to a design school before. So everything we produce, I didn't know I was even that creative until I said, you will learn on it, but it's difficult.
Yeah.
People should not be misled by what they see on the internet as if everything is glamorous and all. It's quite difficult.
Yeah.
It's a difficult work, but it pays too, because you get to meet the people. In my career in corporate for about, let's say, I spent about 15 years plus in corporate Ghana. The people I met cannot be compared to the people I've met in fashion. You won't believe it. Because it's global. I mean, I've gotten customers all over the world. So I have people that chat me up, people call you, I'm in Ghana, I want to meet you, when are you visiting? These are people that have become my friends. These are people that have become my business partners or business affiliates over the last 5 years. Yeah. Either I will start, if it's healthcare, I'm dealing with doctors. Yeah. I'm hospital owners. If it's in banking, I'm dealing with customers of my bank. Yeah. But if you talk of fashion, it cuts across. Some are buying for their dad, some are buying for their boyfriends, some are buying for their themselves. Yeah. So it cuts across, and you have customers. Well, I never had a business, I never ran in a business, operated a business that has customers from China to Australia to America to Canada to Germany to London. I mean, you don't have it. It's rarely do you have a business that has footprints around the world like that. Yeah. So that's something that I'll call the icing on the cake, or the benefits that comes with it. But it's not an easy work.
It's not an easy work, but for those that take it and they're successful, these are some of the benefits. Seeing, customers from all over the world buying your product. Yeah. I'm sure that makes you feel, did you ever think you were able to get there?
I didn't even think I was going to do anything fashion.
You were just focused on, you didn't even think you were going to do anything fashion, nor did you maybe even think you were going to go outside.
Exactly. Have a brand.
Or the continent.
So when people ask me, how do you do it? I say, I don't know. I can only attribute it to God, really.
Amen.
I can only say it's God, because the ideas I get, it can only be God. Yeah. Because we have a creative team, but we are not as sophisticated as some of. We just are in-house people that work long hours, making sure that we come out with something that our customers go like, wow, I like this. And it takes hours and hours of hard work. So to build a brand like this that at least caught someone's attention, someone as important as you, to get your attention to say, let's sit down and have a chat. I think that's even fulfilling.
Absolutely.
I know that from this, you get a lot more coming in,
Absolutely.
Our way, yeah.
I mean, I had friends from 2-3 years ago, Black and Famous. Adrian, you got to go Black and Famous. Didn't get a chance to. Now I'm here at least. So I spoke to Mal. I said, I need to make some orders.
And let me use this opportunity to also say a big thank you to all the, I call them our stakeholders that have really helped build this up. First was Bolare, one of the most important media personalities in Ghana. He's like a big brother to me. And we do business together too. And I would say that his contribution to the brand is enormous.
It's an ambassador, yeah?
Yeah,
would you say that's one of your best ways of promoting the brand?
Yeah, so I think that's what we're not touching on. But I use influencers and I use top people too, because I know where I'm going. Yeah. So when it comes to Ghana, I focus on people that like I said, make people that have not just influence, but are aspirational to the youth, to the people coming out. You could be a very well-to-do person, but you still aspire to look or be in a certain circle. So I really work with that. Yeah. psychometric. It's something that is deliberate. I mean, another guy is Kojo Jones. I mean,
Oh yeah,
people actually
big guy.
believe or think it's his brand. And I answer, yes, it's his brand because I don't want to be the face of the brand.
That's just so hard.
That's
So
something
humble.
that's something that I decided at the beginning of the brand. I don't want it to be about me
Yeah,
because it's not about me really. So anybody that has agreed or has come on board to work with us has really worked. I mean, as hard as I've done to transform this brand to make it to bring it to where it's got into, because the hours they spend in even doing one shoot, you won't believe it. Sometimes you're doing 12 outfits with one person
yeah,
in one little space
yeah.
for hours, like maybe 5 hours continuous.
Wow.
Yeah, and probably I've not even had breakfast. You're out there and you're controlling the tennis way, camera light. It's really I take my hats off for them for what they've done to the brand. And my models, I have a lot of models that we use. I can't mention names because I might leave some out. But all of them that are featured, from even John Dumelo to James Gardner to Calibos to Nathaniel Atto and what's his name again? That's Chris. Is it now Nathaniel Atto, the sports journalist? To all my friends that became models because they wanted to support the brand.
Yeah.
I say they have been the biggest. I mean, if I'm gonna say the biggest part of the story, because nobody knows what we do. The team that does it is them that wear the clothes that make it look nice for people to want to wear. By us, yeah.
Amazing. It's incredible. And now, of course, the business is growing to a point where, of course, you got our own dedicated production center where things are being produced.
Yeah, we have our own factory. We employ quite a number of people, like I said. But now we want to go into other products, so we might not just handle all the production ourselves, because you can't do everything yourself.
Of course.
The moment you become like that, then you are not growing, because you can.
Yeah.
In some other things, for instance, you want to go into sunglasses. How do you produce your own sunglasses? You can do it here, but why do you add it to your production line when you can outsource it and get it done from elsewhere?
Yeah.
We want to go into urban. We call it the Black and Famous Essential. It's what I'm wearing and what we have on our page.
That's beautiful. Is that this is new?
Yeah, baseball caps. You're going into things that we might not necessarily produce here in Ghana. Maybe we finish here, but we are trying to look and feel global. Let me put it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think what you touched upon earlier on was the labor market. You want to kind of help maybe create opportunities in the country or on the continent. So hopefully when you continue to expand, it's going to create more of these jobs for people to do. And of course, that's going to help with the economy.
As for the local economy, we are passionate about it because that's where we all get our bread buttered, really. So we start from Ghana, we go piecemeal from country to country. Hopefully we get our products in the shops across Africa, into Europe. I mean, we'll do it. We don't know how it's going to pan out, but we'll go step by step and put our footprints across the globe.
Do you want to stay niche luxury and kind of like a similar size to where you are? Or do you want to be like seen in stores all over the world?
So, yeah, that question is a good one. We want to maintain our identity, but we probably might bring products that will require us to have, like, we'll still have our tailored to measure business, our bespoke business right here in Ghana, where you have to order online or wherever and it's produced here.
Yeah.
But for instance, if you want to produce this, what we are wearing for summer for our guys in the States and the UK, you can't do it bespoke. It has to be done in sizes, put it out there in shops.
That's it.
So, I mean, by this podcast, we also encourage it. We are inviting people that are interested in partnering us to do that, to have our products in their shops globally. Globally, and then we sort of increase production,
of course,
increase employment and make have a bigger impact with what we are doing. Yeah,
of course, and it's gonna have a domino effect, and it probably even require you to hire more people, and then maybe we need to start training more people, and you can start a fashion academy.
Because
have you ever thought about that?
I think what the world of fashion is going into is also sustainability. Sustainability in terms of what impact is your product or is your brand having on your community or the environment. Are you using green
Yeah.
I mean, labeled products, or you're just producing for the money? Are you employing women and the youth in your business? That's our key focus now.
Yeah.
Even though we started off as a male brand or as a member, we want to break out and do other things.
Yeah.
We want to do products that help hire more women, you know, because I mean, if your business or your there's a principle I have that if your business is not having impact on the people around you, from your family to your friends to your community to your country, then there's something wrong. Then I think it's being powered or it's being fueled by greed, and not an inspiration or not a motivation to help anybody.
Yeah,
because it needs to touch lives. And
wow,
yeah,
that's what. So I think for you, that's you doing your service, touching lives.
Yeah,
the clothes that they're wearing.
Exactly.
Incredible.
Exactly.
I'm sure there's so many testimonies, and we can probably spend all day long talking about. I want us to kind of like as we're bringing this to a close. I want to talk about. Of course, you talked about where fashion is going.
Yeah.
I want to talk about where do you think culture is going in terms of like where we are, like in terms of Africa. I know fashion has a part to play. You know, the culture right now is Africa is really rising, and music is rising with it. The fashion is rising, the food, everything's moving. Where do you see culture going, and how do you see fashion playing its part in the culture?
I think where we are now is about the influence that African culture and fashion is having on blacks in the diaspora. You know, you meet some random guy, you know, outside, and he's so moved to coming back to Ghana or to Africa because of what he's seen online. It could be clothes, it could be the food he saw, or the people, how they live and all of that. You know, I think that what fashion is going to do is we are going to influence a lot of things that are happening outside of even Africa. How people dress.
Yeah.
Hitherto, probably, I mean, you're a UK guy. So parties, people keeping hoodies and all of that. You know, but today, I'm sure that the influence that Ghanaian or even African fashion is having is that you go for parties, and if it's a mixed party of colored and white people, you realize that people are dressed more to fit where they come from than, I mean, just to fit in the place. You know, because the compliments you get, you'll be surprised, because the people that wear African clothes always get, because people are not used to see what the guy or the lady is wearing.
Yeah.
There are beautiful designs coming from Africa.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. I even love the ladies' designs that more than the male, because they go wow. Some of the designs that come from here could match any designer clothes you find in Europe, because the finish. And bear in mind, anything that's handcrafted cannot be compared to commercial production.
And the talent in Africa.
The man hours, you know. If you're going to price our clothes according to the man hours that somebody must hold an outfit from end to end to get it done, it's going to be very expensive. So we are going to get there. I think that culturally we are getting there, but it's going to take time. Like I said, maybe the next 5-10 years, things are going to change. People are going to wear our clothes outside and feel cool about it, and not feel like, are you African?
Yeah.
They go like, I like what you're wearing.
Yeah. Because in the olden days, people were shy.
We're shy. That's what
now everyone's embracing.
Exactly. There were jokes cracked about how we sounded and how, you know, we wear our clothes.
Yeah.
Those sitcoms back in the day, when they say, oh, our uncle from Africa is stand up,
you
realize all they are portraying is all like, this guy is just. But these days, how fashionable we look, I'm sure you've been surprised.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's all over the place. I mean, I remember watching, I think Friday or next Friday, Michael Blackson walking in Yumada Sakas. And then that was our kind of interpretation of Africans. But now it's it's classy.
Yeah,
it's classy. And they want to come here. They want
you're wearing what I'm wearing. People will not believe it was made in Africa if you show it to them. But this is Africa now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Africa is rising.
Africa is rising.
Absolutely. Now, there's been a fantastic conversation.
Same here, my brother.
I want to end the conversation with, there's a photo in your store.
Okay.
Right? And it has Nelson Mandela on it.
Okay.
And it says, everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated and passionate about what they do. I want you to share your thoughts on that quotation.
Mandela is a big idol. To me, he's the greatest African that ever lived. A man with compassion. So and if you realize the position of that photo, it's actually at the center of all the other great African leaders.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Now, what he speaks about is about what drives this business. You spoke about it already.
Yeah.
By the passion, what are we working? What do we have in our hand? We are working with. We are not a global brand yet. We are a Ghanaian brand that's trying to go global. How dedicated are we? How passionate are we to drive it? It's what matters. We might not be there today, but in the next 5 to 10 years, trust me, our name will be on the world, on the major streets of the world. I think that is what he's talking about. South Africa is South Africa today because of Nelson Mandela, because he could have shattered it when he came out of prison, when he became president. He could have drove everybody out of the country and made it a mess. But he was dedicated and passionate about building a new African country called South Africa. And today we saw it at the African Cup of Nations.
Oh yeah, we did.
Exactly.
Incredible.
So for me, it's about, and I tell my team all the time, it's about how much passion drives what you do.
Yeah.
Is it something that you are really passionate about, that you want to see succeed? If that's what drives you, you're going to succeed at all costs.
That is it. 100%.
All right.
100%. Wow. This has been a fantastic conversation. I'm really, really blown away by what we've discussed. Where can everyone find Black and Phamous, Nana? Where can they purchase it, and how can they connect to social media?
We are located in Accra.
Yeah.
I call it our flagship shop. It's our Westlands, on the Westland Boulevard. So you put it on Google Map, Black and Phamous, it will bring you here once you're in Accra. Okay. If you want to shop online, we are still configuring our e-shop. We had it and we had to pull it down to rebuild. So in the next month, in a month's time, you should have our e-shop where you can order all over the world. Yeah. Wow. But on social media, we are very active on Instagram. We are active on Facebook as well. You can reach us and then place an order. Whatever you see over there, we made it and reproduce it for you. So that's the plan.
Amazing. Yeah. So from start to finish, the customer service is just expected to be
good. And I mean, you have to blame me if it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
And I have to answer for it. that's assurance. Yeah, because it has to be good.
Yeah.
There are no second chances, so we need to take the first chance.
I love that, and I think with the customer service, how you're driving it is amazing. Because I spoke to one guest, I think Anders Barber, right, and he's in East Legon, and he was saying that he had one man from the diaspora come to have a haircut. I think from the US, came to have a haircut. He said it's the best haircut he's ever had.
Wow.
In Africa.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure with you want people to come in and be like, this is the best piece of clothing I've ever put on, regardless of where they're from.
And that's what we are working towards.
Yeah.
And I want to throw the challenge out. Come try us. If we feel, we'll do it again and make sure that we replace it and make sure you get the best that we promised.
That's it. It's all about iteration. And
yeah. We want to leave you with a Black and Phamous experience.
Oof. What a way to end the conversation. Yeah. Fantastic. And Nana, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you too, my brother.
Thank you so much. So there you have it, guys. Nana Boateng, founder, CEO of Black and Phamous, luxury Black African with tailoring, fashion. Please do check them out. Please do purchase from them. We'll have all the links in the show notes and in the YouTube description and podcast play description below. You can head over to thesoundofcrowd.com/Black and Phamous. That's famous spelled Phamous. Don't get it twisted. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this season. I really, really enjoyed talking to Nana, and I hope you guys got inspired from what he had to say. Do you have any announcements you want to make, or are we good? We good?
We're good.
We good. All right, guys. So until next season, thank you. Take care. Okay. Hey everyone, Adrian from the SoundCloud podcast. Season finale. I told you guys, season finale is going to be a big one, an exclusive one. The one and only Nana Boateng, founder, CEO, Black and Phamous.
All right.
Anything you want to say to the people?
No, watch out for the video. It was a big one, so you should see it.
There you guys. Season 6, pretty much done. The finale's done. We've got a couple more episodes where it's done. Go and check out Black and Phamous. We'll tag a link to the where you can purchase the IG, website, whatever. Go and get some Black and Phamous in your wardrobe. Peace.